everybody. I am so glad that you are here with us today as we celebrate Storyvine with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Library. My name is Miss Rene, and I am just one of the many library staff and storytellers that work here in the library. You might find me at Imaginon, and today I'm going to share one of my favorite traditional stories with you. Now, you might wonder, why would we be celebrating traditional storytelling? Or maybe even, what is traditional storytelling? And traditional storytelling is an art form that goes back centuries. Just imagine people gathering together to share their favorite stories, maybe things that they've experienced or wisdom that they want to share. And they can tell those stories just using their voices, their faces, their bodies, nothing special. And that is what we're going to do today. I'm going to share one of my favorite stories with you. It is a story from Japan. And I actually learned this story from a wonderful storyteller and teacher named Margaret Reed MacDonald. Now, the name of the story that I'm going to share with you today, it is called The Boy from the Dragon Palace. But I want you to be thinking as you listen to this story, because sometimes it goes by a different name, by a different title. And at the end of this story, I want you to think of maybe an alternate title that you would give this story. So let's begin. Once upon a time, there was a flower seller, a peddler, not a wealthy man. In fact, the way that he made his living was by collecting fresh flowers and taking them to the market, and each day he would hope that the passers-by would buy some of his flowers so that he might make a few coins for some food. One day, this flower seller had a particularly bad spell of business. Why, people had gone back and forth all day long and looked at the flowers, but no one had bought a thing. And so at the end of the day, he gathered up all of those flowers, and as he was carrying them home, he realized the flowers wouldn't last until the next day. So as he crossed the bridge over the water, he had an idea. He took the flowers and he tossed them out into the water, and he said, "A gift for you, Dragon King." And no sooner had he said that and those flowers hit the water than the surface of the water began to move and the waves began to roll, and up from the water arose the most beautiful woman that the man had ever seen. And she said, "The Dragon King wishes to thank you for your gift. And in return, a gift for you." And she held out a little boy. Now, the flower seller knew that it would be rude to refuse a gift from the Dragon King, and so he reached out and he took the child and he brought him to him. And as he got the child closer and he could see a little bit better, he realized that this boy had, well, the snottiest nose that he had ever seen on any child. Why, both nostrils were just filled and crusted with ooey gooey green globs of, well, you get the idea. And so, still holding this boy at a nice arm's distance, he said to the woman, "What am I to do with this snot-nosed boy?" And the woman said, "He will bring you luck. He will bring you great fortune. But you must feed him his favorite food. He loves shrimp. Give him shrimp each day. Add a little sugar, add a little vinegar, and he will bring you great luck." And with that, she disappeared beneath the waves. Well, the flower seller was a bit confused by that, but he was never one to pass up a bit of good luck. So, still holding the boy at a good arm's length, he walked all the way home. And when he got there, his house was, well, a very small place, just a little wooden shack. And he had but one cushion, a very threadbare cushion, but he sat the boy on the cushion, and he looked in his cupboards, and he had just enough food. He prepared a bowl of shrimp, and he added a little sugar, and he added a little vinegar. And when he sat the bowl in front of the boy, he said, "You know, I didn't make any coins today, and I'm serving you the last of my food. If you are able to bring me luck, well, I wish you'd start now." And the little boy didn't say anything. He just picked up that bowl and he began to eat like this. And he ate every last drop. And when he sat down the empty bowl, well, a funny thing happened. That very snotty nose of his, it began to wriggle and twitch. And the little boy, well, he snuffled his nose on his sleeve like this. First one sleeve, and then the other sleeve. And then that little boy blew that snotty nose. Now, you and I, we would get a tissue, right? Or maybe we would ask for a handkerchief. But this little boy, he just put his hands on either side of his nose and he blew it really hard like this. And no sooner had he finished blowing his nose than the floor was covered with, no, not snot, not boogers. No, I would have guessed that too. No, the floor was covered with gold. Gold coins in heaps and piles and mounds. Why, now that flower seller had enough gold, enough money, not only to buy shrimp for the little boy's next meal, but to also get a fine meal of fish and rice for himself, and that's just what he did. Now, when he prepared the bowl of shrimp for the boy's next meal, well, he got an idea. He wondered if maybe this little boy could bring him other things. And so he prepared the bowl of shrimp, and he added the vinegar, and he added a little sugar. And when he sat the bowl before the child, he said, "You know, this is an awfully small little cabin that I have here. It's just a shack, really. And now that there's two of us, it might be nice to have a bigger place." And the little boy didn't say a word. He just picked up that bowl, and he began to eat like this. And when he sat the empty bowl down, well, you know that snotty nose, it began to wriggle and twitch, and the little boy snuffled his nose first on one sleeve, and then on the other sleeve, and then he blew his nose really, really big. And no sooner had he finished blowing his nose than that little tiny shack began to transform into a huge palace. Not just one room, but many rooms, and every room was fully furnished with fine furniture and silk cushions everywhere. Wow. Now, as you might guess, the next day when the man prepared the bowl of shrimp, he put in a little sugar and he put in a little vinegar, and when he set the bowl down, he said, "You know, this palace is awfully large for just me alone to take care of. Why, it would be really nice if there were some servants and maybe a cook that could prepare our meals." And the little boy, you know what he did? Without a word, he just picked up that bowl of shrimp and he began to eat. Now, you know how the little boy eats, so if you want to join in, you can do this with me. Ready? Here we go. And when he sat the empty bowl down, well, his nose, what did it do? That's right. It began to wriggle and twitch around, and the little boy snuffled his nose first on one sleeve. Let's do it. Just pretending, right? And then on the other sleeve. And then he blew his nose really, really, really hard. And no sooner had he finished blowing his nose than the palace doors opened, and in walked a whole line of servants, and behind them there was a cook. Well, you know, this gave the flower seller another idea. And that night he went to the cook, and he said, "You should prepare the boy's meal tonight." And he gave him the recipe for the shrimp with the vinegar and the sugar, and the cook did just as they were told. They prepared the bowl, put in some sugar, put in some vinegar, but when the bowl was set before the boy, he looked at it and he went, "Nope." And he refused to eat it. Do you know why? That's right. The woman had said that the flower seller should feed him shrimp. And so, that flower seller had to go and get some more shrimp and had to prepare it with the sugar and with the vinegar. And when he put the bowl down in front of the little boy, well, you know, he said, "What I'd like is every room in this palace to be filled with a chest full of treasure." And the little boy did not say a thing. You know what he did? He just picked up the bowl and he ate. And when he sat the empty bowl down, then his nose, what did his nose do? His nose began to twitch and wiggle, and he snuffled his nose first on one sleeve, and then on the other sleeve, and then he blew his nose really, 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 really loud. Ready? Here we go. And it was done. Why, every room in that fine palace was not only fully furnished, but there was a treasure chest in every room. Can you imagine? Well, as you know, this man, he wasn't just a poor flower seller anymore. Why, he was rich. He was so rich. Why, he had everything that he could possibly, or actually, no. Every single night when he sat that bowl of shrimp down in front of the boy, he thought of something else that he wanted. That's right. Why, one night it was, he wanted a garden filled with beautiful things that he could admire. And then another night he said he wanted a pond filled with golden fish. And then another time he said what he'd really like were some musicians and dancers to entertain him. And each time the same thing happened. The little boy did the, yeah, right. And he got what he asked for. But you know that this flower seller, well, he was growing a little impatient. And one day he went and he said, you know, Snotnosed Boy, I am really tired of having to prepare this meal for you every single night. Why, I am a wealthy, important man. I have better things to do than to be preparing your food. And you know what? It is so hard watching you. Oh, you're so noisy when you eat. And oh, your nose, it just so snotty. It never seems to get any better. Well, I don't want you here anymore. Go back where you came from. Just go back under the water where you came from. And he took that boy outside of the palace gates and he sat him down and he closed the gates. Now, the little snot-nosed boy, he sat there for a minute. How do you think he was feeling? That's right. Yeah. Oh, he just shook his head sadly at those gates. And then the strangest thing happened. Well, it's not strange to you now because you know his nose began to twitch and wiggle. And he snuffled it first on one sleeve and then on the other sleeve. And then he blew his nose as loud as he ever had before. Are you ready? Well, let's do it. And poof, that palace was gone. The servants were gone. The piles of gold were gone. The pond with the golden fish was gone. The musicians all gone. All that was left was that little wooden hut. And inside was the flower seller, as poor as he could be. Now, down beneath the waves, in the Dragon King's palace, there sat the snot-nosed boy. Oh, he had a great big bowl of shrimp. You know, you just can't please some humans. So true, said the Dragon King. They always want something more. And you know what else? Said the snot-nosed boy. Not once did that flower seller say, thank you. And that is the story of The Boy from the Dragon Palace. It is a story from Japan, and I hope that you enjoyed it. It always makes me remember that I need to be thankful. I need to say thank you for all the blessings that come my way, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how full of snot. Thank you for letting me share that story with you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, I also, at the beginning, I asked you to think of maybe an alternate title for this story. So I know it as The Boy from the Dragon Palace. You can actually find it in book format. You can visit your library and check out the book by Margaret Reed MacDonald. That's her adaptation. But sometimes this story goes by a different name if you're looking for it. Did anybody think of another name? What you might call it? I hope you talk about it at home or in school. Sometimes this story is called The Little Snotnosed Boy. That's pretty fitting too. All right, now I also want to give you a special invitation today because our wonderful Storyvine event is also a great way for us to get ready for summer break at Charlotte Mecklenburg Library. That's right. So I want to invite you to join us because each summer we try to come up with a really exciting way that you can win prizes and you can have fun, and the whole time you are keeping your reading skills sharp. So we want you to join summer break. This year it will be from June the 1st through August the 13th. And you sign up online, and we invite you. The address is going by there on the screen. It says summerbreak.cmlibrary.org. You can sign up there and you can record all of the minutes of reading that you do. You can record all of the learning activities that you do over the summer. You can tell us about all the fun things that you are doing, whether it's reading, writing, creating, playing, exploring, or giving. And if you're not sure exactly how to get signed up, we would also love to see you visit us in one of our library branches. I would love for you to come and visit me. Tell me about the stories that you've been telling, maybe what your favorite story is to tell. And we would love to help you find a great new book and get signed up for the summer break program. So again, thank you all, friends, for joining me today. I had such a good time, and I hope that you will stick around because we have lots more traditional stories to share with you. Thank you, friends. Bye, everybody.